First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you're here, right? We met on Christmas, and then we saw that a lot of people are traveling. So we thought, okay, let us give you a breather. And then we are back once again with the first masterclass for 2024, right? Before we start the session, I'll give everyone about me as well as Juno, what we are doing, why we are doing, and then we'll start off with the session because our speaker, Mr. Subramaniam Sundaram, is there with us. You can already see him on the screen, but I'll just take a few minutes before we start off with the session, right? Just to give you a heads up, my name is Ronit, and I'm marketing team at Juno School of Business. I host the Juno Masterclass, and I bring to you speakers from across industries who have been there, done that in sales to help you learn the things that they have learned for so many decades so that you can implement it right away and get success, work on it, implement them, and work towards your great professional journey. Juno is there to help you with all your sales learning, right? We understand that upskilling is difficult because you have a lot of things on your plate. You have your work, your personal life, and definitely learning takes a back seat. And that's where we would just want to request you just turn on, come there on the session for Juno Masterclass every Saturday, 12 p.m. And we'll take learning initiatives, right? The only request that we have is you just turn on for this. Now, with this, I would like to give you a quick brief introduction about our speaker. Mr. Subramaniam Sundaram is the head of sales at SiamPly currently. He has worked with marquee brands, right? Like, for example, Century, Sintex, Supreme. And a quick anecdote about Sir would be that when I was in my college and I was heading my placements, right? And I was going through companies to pitch about our students. Sir gave me the first opportunity to sell. I mean, I'll not say sell, but give me an opportunity to help them understand what a new B school can bring into their ecosystem. And that's where I got my first glimpse of selling. And I had a meeting with him and then into more and more companies. But the first break is very important. And I really recall that in 2015, if I'm not wrong. And since then, I've been bothering Sir a lot, many times. And finally, I've got him for the masterclass. So without further ado, we would like to start off with the masterclass today, which is on 5 traits for sales success. And sir, thank you so much for giving us your time. Welcome once again, and would love your introduction because it's 30 years in the corporate world. And I have again given a few liners, but would love to hear an elaborate introduction about you, your experience, and then we can start off with the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ronit. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the masterclass conducted by Juno Business School. I've known Ronit for about 8 years now, and he's managed to sell this to me. So when you look at selling, it's not just at your company, it's not just at your workplace. You're doing selling throughout the day. You probably would go home and tell your spouse that आज शाम को कहीं बाहर जाना है, ये सामान खरीदना है. So he's trying to sell you something. So we are actually morning to evening to everybody. Selling is not just within the company. It's basically trying to influence somebody's decision so that it matches with your expectations or with your desired results. Having said that, I've had the privilege of working for the building materials industry for about close to 35 years now. I started my career in Bombay, and a few tips for sales people is if somebody tells you to shift geographies, keep an open mind. I've worked in Bombay, I've worked in Maharashtra, I've worked in Kerala, I've worked in Gujarat, I've worked in Andhra Pradesh, I've worked in Karnataka. The basic logic which I'm trying to tell you over here is if you are mobile, You work in different geographies. You work with different kinds of people. You work with different business classes everywhere across geographies. It will help you in your career, right? Now, these points are being brought out because the topic for the day is what are the important rates for us as salesmen. I see a few young faces over here and a few senior and few experienced faces. Probably most of you have spent varying times in the industry in various selling positions. I'm just going over to sharing the screen, Ronald. Just give me a moment.
Yes, sir. And while you do your presentation, sir, I'll be managing the chat. So anywhere any question comes up, I'll be there to assist you on that. So one request would be if you can just go a little behind so that we get a complete frame of yours, because we'll be, yes, a little bit. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, because we'll be taking snippets and churning these videos out for our learners so that they can learn on a daily basis from these sessions. And some people also mentioned about connectivity issue. Is it with everyone or only a few people are getting it? Is there a connectivity issue? Okay, okay. One second. Uh, okay, okay, perfect. Jaideep, thanks. Okay, sir. I think you can uh, start off with the session, and I'll be there to help you out with any chat, any question.
Great. Now, as a salesperson, as we already saw, we are basically trying to influence decisions for people. Day in, day out, we are selling to everybody. Now, how it is being done? Is it being mutually beneficial? Is it worth the effort? Is what we are going to see today.
So
And
would you
when you
do
sell,
the full screen out there? Sorry to cut you here. Would you be able to do the full screen out here? Yeah, would help the learners. Correct. Thanks. Thank you so much, sir.
okay, is that fine?
Yes, sir. Completely fine. Please take it forward.
Okay. Now, when you look at selling to customers, you look at different product categories. Let's take the case of a toothpaste. Somebody buys a toothpaste every 25 to 40 days. So the window for the salesperson or the company to sell toothpaste is every 25 to 40 days. When you're selling, let us say, a mobile, today people change their mobiles every 9 months to a year and a half. So the window to sell a mobile is between 9 months and 1.5 years. Now let's go to big ticket items like vehicles, refrigerators. The selling window is basically once in 7 or 8 years. Today, most people change their vehicles in about 7 years. Most people change their refrigerators and OTGs and microwaves in about 7 years. Then you come to building materials, the industry that I belong to. You find that selling is done basically once in a lifetime, right? Now, each industry, I'm sure, has its own peculiarities when it comes to selling during that small window where the consumer can be influenced. What is it that we need to know? What is it that we need to do as salespeople to succeed during that window is what is going to define us and what is going to be discussed today. Just to throw up a question, how many of you have worked with telexes?
Uh, People can write it in the chat.
Just raise your hands or just say yes or no.
Yeah,
Ronit, you can probably give me a number, or I mean, sure,
sure, sure.
people can see a number. How many of you have worked with pagers? Right? How many of you have worked with fax machines? How many of you have waited after 10 or 10 p.m. in the night to call somebody you love or somebody you want to talk to at one-fourth the rate that the Department of Telecom would have for telephone calls?
We see a
How
majority
many of you
saying no,
have
sir. we have one person saying yes to pager and facts. She is one of our senior learners at Juno.
Right. Now, the idea of basically throwing these facts and numbers, these events in our lives was because that there's been a constant change. Things are changing around us continuously. I remember, when we had to go to school earlier, parents would be happy कि first standard में admission मिल गया. Now we see that there is a kind of competition to get children into playgroups, and that too high paying playgroups with expectations from parents ki, will he be able to write, will he be able to sing, will he be able to dance, do you have acting classes, do you have drawing classes, right? Now there is change happening around you everywhere. We need to be a student, we need to understand change, we need to work around change. Now how will it affect you as a salesperson? Consumer profiles have changed. For example, to give you an example from the building materials industry, about 15 years ago, the entire house would be painted in ivory or blue or yellow, just one color. We would see that there was only one color in the entire house. Today, if you walk into any house, each room has its own personality. This is shown not only in the paint, but also in the furniture. Children have a different design. The elders have a different design. The bread owner in the family has a different design. The kitchen has a different outlook altogether. So basically, even consumers are changing their expectations and designs in their product usage. Now, as a salesperson, we need to be continuously in touch with the market to understand these changes, which is why I tell again and again that we need to be students of the changing landscape in the market. A few years ago, if I had to probably have a class like this, I'd have to travel down to Bangalore or Bombay, wherever Ronit is. All of you would come down. What has COVID done? It has reduced air travel completely. One mode of communication has been added to our daily life. I'm talking about travel. Travel has a competition in terms of video conferencing. So we find that even products undergo changes. To give you an analogy from my industry, when we started, there was only one product known as plywood, which is basically used to manufacture furniture, probably around 20, 30 years ago. Today, there are more than 9 or 10 different substitutes to plywood, which can be used by a consumer. We also have seen changes in technology. I would probably start my day in the morning in 1993, sending a telex to my head office, punching in all the orders. Halfway through sending the telex, the connection would drop, and I had to start sending my telex all over again. What do I do now? I go to the dealer, I take a photograph of the purchase order, and I send it to my factory purchase guy directly. What has happened? Technology has changed. Technology has assisted me in shortening the process of processing the purchase order. Being a student throughout your life is a very important aspect of a salesperson. See clear, you've learned things. One more question to the group. Can you tell me what is the difference if you bank with Canara Bank and Indian Bank? Any perceptible difference in the products? Yes or no?
People can type in the chat section.
Basically talking about the product offered by a bank.
Okay, Akash replied no.
Okay. Now let's say, do you know what is the difference between two toothpastes that you're using?
My answer would be no, sir, honestly.
Okay. What about soap?
Okay, Jarina mentioned when you mentioned about toothpaste, she said about the taste out there, fragrance, aroma, texture.
Now, what actually happens is the more choice, the more brands are there in the market, the more commoditized your product is becoming. As a salesperson, it is your responsibility to highlight these changes to the consumer. You need to adapt with whatever is available in the market and highlight these changes to the consumer. I give you the example of the house having only one color 10 years ago. If anybody remembers the Asian Paints advertisement, it said Mera Wala Cream. What they wanted to say was that every room in the house could have a different color. You want pink, you want green, you want blue, you want red, it could be done. Or look at Scooty a few years ago. They came out with an advertisement where there was this young girl wearing a purple color dress and driving a purple color Scooty. The market is getting more and more segmented. We need to understand this as salespeople. Look at Asian Paints as an example once again. If anybody has done their painting, paints like purple, red, orange would cost more. The lighter colors would cost less. JSW recently came out with, understood the problem, and they came out with an offering saying that any color, one paint, one price. Any paint, one price. They disrupted the market entirely by offering just one price, whatever be the color. Why? The landscape is changing. People are finding that if I have to use Asian paints, my budgets are all right. So they are trying to give one single price for a particular product. Now, I've been in the plywood industry, I've been in the wood panel industry, but I thought that probably if I could, I didn't know the kind of people that would be here on this gathering. So I'm basically giving examples from different industries so that you can relate or understand. Everybody is selling. As a salesperson, it is important to note how you can do it, how you can add value, how you can do it differently. I've always been a person who used to listen to my customers, who used to listen to them, and I will not offer them a solution. Varis has mentioned same thing is happening in the shoe industry. Varis, you can probably highlight what is happening. Okay, attractive colors, more price. Thank you. That's a learning for me today, right? When I go and meet a customer, I really don't know what he or she is looking for. So I spend the first 30, 40 minutes trying to understand their requirement. In fact, sometimes it takes me 4 to 5 meetings to understand their requirement because there's not one decision maker. There are layers of decision making in any organization in some cases. So the idea is to listen both the verbal and the non-verbal cues that are being given to you when you're meeting them at these points. Another play of getting adapted is you go and meet a customer, you really don't know anything about him. It's like giving an extempore talk. You pick up cues from his office, right? For example, I met this architect in Guntur, probably about 7 months ago. The moment I walked into his office, there were shades of gray everywhere and very basic elements of color, nothing very lavish. So I asked him about his tastes in design, about whether he uses functionality in his furnitures and applications. He probably thought that I knew about what he was doing, and the discussion became more and more interesting. And it took me about 3 visits after that to convince him, to convert him. But the moment you hit that small area of relevance where he connects with you get his mind. Now, let's say you know the customer well and you're meeting him for the third or the fourth time. In this case, please be prepared when you're meeting the customer. Please research well about his needs, his requirements. Please ensure that you are carrying with you what all is expected by him during that visit. It could be a test certificate, could be a skill on what he's been looking for from earlier, could be a reference to a project that he's looking for. But when you're going to meet him, ensure that you research well about him and then meet him. We spoke about technology in both these cases, right? A few examples. Target UK. Target is a is like DMart in India. It's a company which is into modern retail in the UK. And there was this girl who was pregnant, but the family didn't know about it. The parents didn't know about it. The immediate family didn't know about it. So what happened is one day, this household received a letter from Target for diapers, coupons for diapers. Now, they didn't know what to do. I mean, the father didn't know what to do, the mother didn't know what to do, the sister didn't know what to do, the brother didn't know what to do. सब एक दूसरे को देख रहे हैं कि भाई प्रेग्नेंट कौन है. Then he got wild. He went to Target and he fired that guy. He said, "I've received this coupon and you've sent it to my house." Then that guy said, "No, sir. Basically, we have an algorithm where we study the purchasing patterns of people. So if somebody is buying during the third trimester a particular item from the shop, it means in another 45 days, they will also start buying diapers, right?" Now, this example is being given over here to tell you that technology is helping us understand buying behavior, understand purchasing patterns. As salespeople, we need to adopt technology. Now, this gentleman went back home and he asked everybody. Then this girl said, "Yes, Dad, I'm pregnant." Right? So this is one use of technology where we find that a company is using purchasing patterns within the mall, within the showroom to influence future purchasing decisions. Tesco, South Korea, another amazing example. In fact, I find this in Decathlon nowadays. In Decathlon, the moment you put your stuff into the bag, it gets billed. Earlier, you had to carry the stuff, go to the counter, and he would scan the codes and then he would bill it to you. Nowadays, they have a bag which already has a RFID in all the four corners. So the moment you drop the stuff, it reads the QR code or the barcode, and the billing takes place automatically. South Koreans, they are very industrious people and they do not want to waste time. So what happened is Tesco had a platform, a station, where they would say that let us have these photographs of or images of household requirements for people to pick up when they go home. What did they have? Milk, grocery, cool drinks, and small items which would be used in the kitchen. So when the person was coming back home at the station, as you can see in this photograph, he would just scan, he would pay, and by the time he reached home, from his station to his home, probably he walked for about 8, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. By the time he walked home, the delivery would have taken place. One more use of technology in helping buying decision. Right? Now, as salespeople, we see this happening every day, everywhere. If most of us are free salespeople, we would be aware of what is lead management. So many projects coming up, so many buildings coming up, so many customers being available, so many shops opening up, right? The sheer numbers are so large that it is practically impossible for me to maintain a diary of all the customers and say that I've met so many people. I cannot do it if I do not have an app which gives me ease of use of entering the GPS location of the project or the customer's name or the telephone number or the related influencers or the related decision makers of that particular project, right? Let's say you're painting your house. So you have your designer who's an influencer, you have your painter who's an influencer, you have the shopkeeper who is an influencer, and everybody in your house is also an influencer. दादाजी को अपना कलर चाहिए, मम्मी जी को अपना कलर चाहिए, बच्ची को अपना कलर चाहिए. Now, as a salesman, what should I do? Right? So managing numbers is going out of hand. So it is high time that as salespersons, we adopted technology. We welcome CRM. Today, unfortunately, in many places, I see that CRM is not welcome for various reasons. But CRM is going to make your life easy. How? It will manage those numbers for you. It will help you enter who's a decision maker and focus on them on a future date. Once you know who's the decision maker, once you know the size of the project, the type of the project, you can custom make or tailor make your product offering to them. This data on your system can also be accessed by your other verticals. Let's say you have a technical team. Let's say you have a finance team. You have a marketing team. Okay. Or let's say you have people at the factory in logistics. Everything is there available in the system. Everybody can access it online, and they can give you live decisions or live suggestions on how to go about converting the business. As a salesperson, at the end of the day, your mind will be only on how to generate further business. As a sales officer, I was told I had to make 10 calls a day. As an area manager, I was told I should make 8 calls a day. If you have to make a sale, you need an inquiry. If you need an inquiry, you need to have prospects. If you need prospects, you need to have made calls, right? So 6, 8, 10, 12 are just numbers. The number of calls, the number of inquiries, the number of conversions, the number of orders depends purely on your hunger, depends purely on what you want to achieve or do as a salesperson. Believe me, nobody is going to tell you not to make 20 calls, not to make 30 calls. As you start your career, what happens is you need to focus on sheer numbers. I'm basically talking about youngsters. Probably, I'm reminded of the Jack Ma interview where he said that if you're between 20 and 30, don't think, just learn, right? So when you're young, let's say you enter the organization as a sales officer, probably the first 4 or 5 years, meet as many people as possible. In my industry, the building material industry and the plywood trade, uh, just a moment. A glass pani pilaएंगे? We have architects, interior decorators, tailors, carpenters, contractors, modular furniture manufacturers. We have customers, we have corporates, we have government departments, right? There are so many people who are involved in the industry. I'm sure if somebody is from, if you're from transport, or if you're from the medicine line or the pharmaceutical industry, or if you're from paints, each industry has its own set of people who have to be met to generate business. Meet as many people as possible. Do not restrict yourself on the numbers. I find today that people say, I'm a dealer, I'm a channel guy, I'm a project guy, I'm a business development guy. Meet different kinds of people. Don't compartmentalize yourself. Right? The younger you are, the more outgoing you are, you'll get a varied experience. Now, how will this experience help you? A, it can help you build linkages. You never know. You might have an architect telling you, boss, I'm searching for this, particular material, I'm not getting it. You may have met that supplier somewhere. You can connect them together, score a few brownie points. And you don't know. Meet as many different kinds of people from different walks of life related to your industry. If you have an opportunity, do not try to get compartmentalized. Try to work in projects, try to work in retail, try to work in business development, try to work in the furniture, I mean, the modular furniture manufacturing segment. Try to work in as many areas as possible. Now, what will happen as you start your career? Your numbers for meeting people will be very high. As you gain experience, you will invariably use the Pareto. And you will end up saying that, boss, these guys give me business. Let me keep them aside. So you will start meeting quality people. So where you had quantity, you will jump to quality now. This happens over a period of time. This happens by meeting people, by networking and working with them. Now, what happens when Pareto sets in? You have a set amount of business coming in from this 20% of people. Your business is set, it's on course. You have a lot of free time. What do you do in your free time? Start from point one. Start meeting as many people, new people as possible. Over here, I'd like to say one thing. The higher up the ladder, we start to get this feeling that I'm a manager. I manage people. I should not make cold calls. There's nothing like that. I manage about 60, 65 people. I still consider it a privilege that I'm able to make cold calls. Right? One, it keeps you in touch with your roots, keeps you in touch with your basic selling skills, keeps you in touch. It also tells your people that if you can do it, they damn well do it. You're walking the talk. You're setting an example. So we've gone through this from a beginner to probably somebody who's running an organization in sales and marketing. Right? Collaboration and networking is very important today, and this will come only if you meet more and more and more and more people. The most valuable item today for a salesperson is his mobile telephone index. I was told that one of my colleagues came and told me कि सर मैं 11 बजे कस्टमर को मिलता हूँ और he's not available. So I've started moving out from the house between 11 and 11:30, which means half the day is over. Right? I empathized with him. I understood that he probably did not know how to utilize his time. You look at any person today, all of us sitting over here in this chat room have 8 hours a day. My boss has 8 hours a day. People working with me have 8 hours a day. Right? It is entirely in your hands how you want to spend your time. Plan, prepare, and persevere. When I say plan, it is in your hands every Saturday to finalize what you will do for the next 6 days. Every day in the morning, to decide what you will do for the day. Every day in the evening to decide what you will do the next day. As salespeople, we have nothing else to do. A target, this is going to be helped achieve by a certain number of people. Who am I going to meet next week? Who am I going to meet tomorrow? Who am I going to meet today to help me achieve that target? Is what we need to do. So plan your day to the T before you move out of your house. If anybody walks out into the field without knowing what he's going to do that day, he is not a salesperson. Customers don't have time. Customers have multiple choices. Some customers have already made up their choices. You need to know what they want. You need to understand in that first, second, third meeting as to what is it he wants. Just to give you an example, when I was when I was in sales in plywood, I would visit sites and find out what is the frame of the door made of. The frame of the door is made out of certain species of timber. Then I would take a small piece, go to my dealer and ask him, sir, ye kaun sa timber hai? Ye kaun sa timber hai? Ye kaun sa timber hai? What is the price of this timber? What is the price of this timber? What is the price of this timber? There is a species of timber known as teak wood. Teak wood is a very expensive species of timber. If anybody is using teak wood as a framework for his house, it means he's spending a lot. I would position my premium product to him. If somebody was using a lesser timber or a substitute product for the frame of the door, I would know that he may not be able to pay this price. Let me position my second range or third range to him. There are many ways by which you can prepare yourself when you go to a meeting. This is just one example that has been highlighted. Right? Some of us who've spent time in villages have seen that when you take water from the well, right? Uh, the rim of the well has a small indentation. Over a period of time, the rope leaves a mark over there. As you pull the water, the rope uh, basically is pulled against the stone, and the rope leaves a mark on the stone. This customer is meeting 20 people in a day. There are various competitors who meet him, probably for the same project in a day, in a week, in a month, in a quarter. Some of us might say, I went to him 3 times. He didn't respond. So let me stop. Some of us may say, I met him 4 times. He didn't respond. Let me stop. But that one person who doesn't give up and says, no, I have to meet him every Friday. I will meet him every Friday and I will get my order. He's the person who gets the order. He is like that rope who leaves a mark on the stone, which is used for removing water. I have n number of examples. An architect, it took us 17 visits to convert. Now, 17, probably that is the longest I've taken to convert an architect. Very recently, it took me 9 months to 9 or 10 months to convert a customer, a modular furniture manufacturer. If I had given up in the second or the third or the fourth month, this customer today would not have given the order to us. That architect would not have given the order on the 17th visit when we met them. So perseverance is very, 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 very important. So as a salesperson, plan your day, prepare every meeting for your customer. If he's giving you time, please understand his time is very precious. And once you get an opportunity to plan and meet after preparation, do not let go of that meeting halfway. One of my bosses used to ask me, do you know why Edmund Hillary climbed the Mount Everest. Can we have it on answer over here? I mean, can we have an attempt to go at it?
Please type it in the chat, people. So if you can repeat the question once again, maybe people have missed it.
Why did Edmund Hillary, Tenzing Norgay, climb the Mount Everest?
Okay, people, you can uh, give it a shot in the chat section. Or if people want to also share their answer, they can raise their hand and I'll unmute them. Sense of accomplishment,
Good.
clear mission, intrinsic motivation, not to give up.
Wonderful answers coming up.
I think
The
so.
simplest,
One thing which I would like to share is that just pushing yourself to the limit that you feel you
absolutely,
can challenge yourself.
absolutely. There's a very simple, basic answer to this, which says because they wanted to. They just wanted to do it. So when I go out into the field and I meet a customer, I tell myself, boss, this order is mine. So either till the order gets lost or the order gets converted, I'm with that customer holding his hand throughout the journey. So I persevere with the customer till the end of the project because I want to. After having covered this, initially when I started my career, I used to focus on quantity. These are a few secrets which have helped me succeed as a salesperson, as an individual, as a salesperson, as Subramaniam, as a salesperson. I would meet people. I would leave the house at around 9:15, 9:30, start working on sites, then start meeting customers, then start going to shops, then start going to the carpenters' houses in the evening because they would come back to their houses in the evening. Sometimes we've even gone to the carpenter's house early in the morning because he would leave his house at around 8:39 in the morning. So before 8:39, you had to meet him. So prospect, search for new customers. Over a period of time, you will realize how to filter the quality from this quantity. So as a salesperson, the first secret to your success is prospecting. Now, when your consumer wakes up or when you wake up, first thing you see is your mobile. The second thing you switch on is probably your radio or probably your television. The third thing that you go to is your newspaper. The fourth thing is probably a spouse or a parent or a child comes up to you and talks about what happened the previous day. The fifth thing after all this is, Arey, aaj office jana hai. After that, what happens is you start getting calls from your customers, you start getting calls from your colleagues, you start getting, so your day is full right from morning till you go to sleep in the evening, right? This is also happening to your customer. आपके साथ अकेले नहीं हो रहा है. If you think that this is my life, please understand your customer also wakes up at 5:36. He also opens his mobile. He goes through the newspaper. He goes through the television. He has a spouse, parent, or child coming up to him, talking to him. He has a vendor talking to him. He has his customers talking to him. Make sure that when you wake up, you make every activity, every task of yours count in the sales process. Most of you know that this is a masterclass on sales. Right? Most of my customers know what I'm selling the moment they see my visiting card or they see the name of my company on my t-shirt or shirt. A few of you must be working for, IT companies, pharmaceutical companies, shoe companies, FMCG, white goods. The moment you give your card saying that you're working for XYZ company, they know what you're trying to sell. You really don't have to tell the customer what is it that you're trying to sell all over again. What you have to tell him is why should he be making that purchase from you? How you as a salesperson can make a difference, how you as a salesperson can add value to his selling experience. For example, I sell plywood, right? I go to Ronit's office and I give him my card and say, sir, मैं plywood company से आया हूँ. तो रोनित को मालूम है यार फर्नीचर बना रहा हूँ, I need plywood, so this guy is come to sell plywood. So do I have to talk to him about plywood? No. Add value to the discussion. How do you add value? Read, learn, network. Try to understand what he is from his surroundings. Pick a topic from there and talk to him. Make him feel important. Make sure that in 60 minutes, he speaks for at least 40 minutes, if not more. Right? I don't know whether it is by chance or by force that I've never sold on price. Many times I would tell my customers, sir, ये price में मैं नहीं दे सकता हूँ. I walk out of orders. I refuse orders on price. You are a wonderful salesman. You have a wonderful product to sell. I'm sure you know all about your product. Talk about its features. Talk about its value proposition. Talk about how different you are from the competition. Do not sell on or compete on price. And let's say if the difference is 5-6% between a competitor and you're expensive by 5 or 6%. Let's say 100 rupees is the price of your competitor and you are 110 or 107. And the customer has decided to buy the product at 100. He has already decided to pay 100 rupees. You only need to convince him why he has to pay you 7 rupees more. I'm sure there must be differences between your product and the competitor's product, which will make it worthwhile for you to explain to the customer why he has to pay you 7 rupees more. We are a cricket loving nation. This data is about 2 months old. 4,644 ODIs have been played till date. Only 40 of them have been won by hitting a six on the last ball. Now, if I'm sure all of you know the percentage, कभी भी आपका टारगेट लास्ट डे में अचीव नहीं होता है. You have to be very gifted, or your product has to be very much in demand that till the last day you've achieved around 30-40% of your target, and on the last day you achieve the balance 60-70%. We go back to the earlier slides. We say that boss, plan the month well in advance. Your targets have to be broken down into weeks, into days, into, if possible, hours of the day and achieved. Last ball sixes is a very rare phenomenon. Our targets are sacrosanct as salespeople. So always have a varying set of plans to achieve your targets. There is a delay in supply. There is an increase in price. There is a problem in quality. There is a variation, let us say, in the color that is being supplied or the specification being supplied. Be upfront. I've learned that if I talk to my consumer about what is bad, customer about what is bad, I basically get him close to me. I tell him, in fact, I'm telling him that this time I may not be able to help you because of this reason. His project does not suffer. His work does not suffer. He will appreciate your honesty for that. complaints, the bane of all salespeople. We stop attending telephone calls. We says boss को लेके आता हूँ. We say technical team को भेजता हूँ. Please do not do that. I actually take a complaint as an opportunity to become closer to the consumer. He's already in trouble. He's already feeling miserable. Now imagine if he has a welcoming ear to listen to his problem, his pain. He's going to remember you. So these few points have helped me succeed as a salesman in the last 30, 35 years. Now, what has it helped build? It has helped me build my reputation for delivering targets consistently. It has helped me build my integrity. It has given a communication to the market that this guy is a go-to guy and this guy is result oriented. I wish each and every one of you a very happy selling career so that you build your reputation. And I hope I've been able to contribute to your knowledge. Thank you, Ronit, for this opportunity. Thank you, Juno, for this opportunity. Take care, everybody. I'll leave it open for questions if there are any, Ronit.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Before we start with the Q&A, if you can stop sharing your screen, uh, would be great. Yes, thank you so much. Before definitely we deep dive into the Q&A, I could see a person traveling in the bus and also, I mean, attending this session, right? The camera was there. It's great to see that people are investing in their upskilling journey even while they're on the go. So thank you so much for trusting us with your time, right? Thank you so much. One thing that I would like to highlight here is that I had the opportunity to meet Sir long time back, and trust me on this, we'll ensure that when we start our offline meets, right, you also get the opportunity to meet leaders like Sir, because the gravitas with which he conducts himself, right, that speaks a lot about why he has been able to build that reputation. So thank you so much, sir, once again for giving us your time, trusting us with your time, and almost 1 hour flew by. We couldn't realize. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Ronit. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take
So
care,
we
everybody.
have,
Tell
yeah,
me.
yeah, we have the questions, sir. So Sahil has a question. Sahil, please go ahead.
Yeah, so sir, first of all, the best thing about your session was you were saying very slowly, very, you are not in a hurry or a fast, which I do as a salesperson, I feel myself. So I really liked about it, sir. Sir, I think this is something which I wanted to ask you, which is very different related to sales, but is a kind of a trait which I have experienced these days. Hello, can you hear me?
Sahil, are you
Yeah,
there? I think
please,
we lost you in
please go
between.
ahead. I can hear
Yes,
you.
yes. Yes, yes. I can. I think I am not able to see your screen, Rohit. Ronit. Okay. So, sir, what I was saying to you is that I have a fear of talking to the higher authority, or a kind of somebody who is a leader in the market, or maybe I am reaching out to a founder, we are reaching out to admission director, so I'm into the education space basically. And we are selling some AI conversational tools to the universities. So if I'm reaching out to a big sharks, or big people, so I have that phobia. I be very so naive on the call, very soft on the call. So how to cater that thing, sir? Because I am devaluing myself firstly on the call. Okay, that is I am feeling these days, and so sir, I am not so confident on that call. So I was not myself on those calls, sir. So if I can get some of the some of things, not a kind of sir, like what can we do in this situations, or what should I have that mindset in my mind? Okay, I'm talking to this person. It is big for me, but I am not being myself. So that is what I'm dealing, sir, in the sales journey right
Sahil, even after 35 years, I have butterflies in my stomach when I meet clients,
now.
right? And it doesn't come from the fact that I'm meeting them for the first time or they have a XYZ position or not. Uh, it rather more comes from the fact that Do I really know what they want? Uh, because that is what we are going there as salesperson to find out. I think you should focus on the task and not the individual.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine people shouting Sachin, Sachin. There's 90,000 people at Eden Garden and Sachin hitting a six, not getting diverted by all that noise. How does he do it? You train yourself. Or let's say a newcomer who's broken into the Indian team playing with Sehwag, Sachin, and Dravid together. And पहले दिन में तीन legends. What will he do? He focuses on the game, not on the individual.
Understood.
So my suggestion, I mean, what I do is I focus on why I've been there, what is my objective from that meeting. I try to learn more about the customer rather than focusing on his name, designation, pedigree, his legacy. At the end of the day, he also is a customer who has a need. I probably have a product which can satisfy his need. I don't know initially. You don't know initially. Let's find out together.
Right. No. Yes, sir. I think I got my answer. But see,
Like,
sometimes on the call, you have just that 30 seconds or 35 seconds or for whatever it is to give them a hook that I can solve your problem. I am here to solve your problem. Let's find out. So, how will he give me the opportunity if I'm not being confident enough?
चलो चलो बाद में बात करते हैं. Sorry. Yeah. Sahil, we were talking about the elevator pitch. चलो मैं आपको थोड़ी देर के बाद फोन करता हूँ.
Sahil, would you like to repeat your question?
I am just trying to find the right example because I've faced this. And I always find that the first 15 to 30 seconds are the most important time when I go and meet a customer, right? And I generally start off extempore with whatever is available in his surroundings. I'll give you an example. I went and met probably one of India's top architectural firms about a year ago. The moment I walked into his office, I could smell only coffee. And believe you me, मेरे को coffee अच्छा नहीं लगता. ठीक है? They had a machine and almost every table had a coffee cup mug. And this guy walks up to me and says, हाँ बोलो, चलो बात करते हैं. मैं बोला सर आपके ऑफिस में कितना अच्छा कॉफी का खुशबू आ रहा है. ऐसे कॉफी के माहौल में हाउ इज इट दैट यू गाइस वर्क? आई एम फीलिंग जेलस. I got the order, not then, but probably after 3 visits. But I think you need to be a natural in picking up small things which can connect you with them immediately. Don't talk about your business. Don't talk about when they know that you're calling from the educational space. They know you're probably going to sell them something related to educational space. Or somebody recently, an architect in Hyderabad, a very senior architect in Hyderabad, beautiful building. The moment I walked in, I said, "Sir, आपके ये दरवाजे जो हैं, इतने बड़े हैं, एंड यू प्रोबेबली आज के जमाने में ऐसे इसी मेटल के साथ 3 दरवाजे बन जाते हैं. And he had a red oxide flooring. A few of us who probably are seniors would understand what is red oxide flooring. And I asked him, sir, how old is the house? That house was built by his grandfather. His just after his marriage, and his grandmother had to hawk her jewelry to fund that house. So yeah. Now, a small innocuous comment on the house, on the door, on the flooring gave me 45 minutes of undisturbed time with him. 30 seconds, 45 minutes उसने बना दिया, मैंने नहीं बनाया. This comes with practice. I gave you an example about an architect in Guntur who had grays in his office, right? I do this every time when I go to a new architect. I do this every time when I meet a new customer. I pick up something from their immediate surroundings to build a link with them. Kolhapur, one architect had images of what do you call it? Roman architecture or Greco-Roman architecture. I asked him, sir, is your design influenced or do you use more of these designs? And he said, yes. Right? So you're picking up cues from architect के अगल बगल में, customer के अगल बगल में, उसको जो चाहिए वही रखेगा. So pick up your cues from there. It could be anything. And I made mistakes initially. Took me some time to practice and get this over. The elevator pitch is to catch attention. And that 30 seconds, you can catch attention by talking about them. Don't talk about yourself. About something that is surrounding them. Something that is there in their office, in their presence.
Agreed, sir. Thanks,
Right,
Sahil,
sir.
for the question. Any other follow-up questions, Sahil, or shall we move to the next person?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Sahil.
Welcome, Sahil.
Jarina, ma'am, you had a question, I think. If you would like to unmute yourself, please unmute yourself. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. It's an excellent eye opener for me. See,
Thank you.
mine is a service-oriented business. So if I have to compare the product and the price, as you said, from 100 to 107 rupees, the difference was 7 rupees. I have to explain the value added to that. But as far as service is concerned, how can I make the customer understand I have the best service available, and most of the service in my industry is skill. Suppose if it is a makeup, everybody has foundations, everybody has brushes, everybody has every knowledge, but the skill comes from within through, I mean, it's like an art. So how to convince them?
Mrs. Mohammed, I'm actually very jealous of your industry. The reason being, products can be copied. Service is an intangible and it can never be copied if you're on the top of the ladder, top of the pyramid. Service can be differentiated, however small or big the business is. Products can be copied easily.
Yes.
I just need to take a product to probably a Chinese vendor or a vendor in Punjab or Ludhiana and tell him, make something exactly like me and give it to me. But if your service is hardwired into your organization, into your culture, into your team, nobody can copy it. And the best way of talking about service is by not talking about it and by letting your customers talk about it. Anything and everything you do, anything, all touch points basically should give them the feeling that you are a top-notch service organization. Right from the first call, the second follow-up call, the appointment, the meeting, how you handle them, who handles them, the time that you handle them, the billing process, refunds, if any. At every point, they should be given a feeling that this is a top-notch service organization. And believe me, it helps.
Sure, sir. Thank you. And one more question I have. When you said about the coffee thing, see, though internally you are not liking the coffee, but when you were talking to the client, you were praising about the environment and all. Is it not conflicting with your personal emotion? Like, suppose if I were in your place, probably I wouldn't have complimented the coffee smell, which I personally don't like. Then is it not like, no, you need to be true with your yourself first, then to your client? You need not comment on the coffee smell, but why unnecessarily price which you don't like? Is it to impress the customer, or is it the way we need to change ourselves when you are in a business?
See, I'd probably put it this way. We are not being untrue by saying that. Right? At the same time, we are picking up a conversation with the consumer on a particular topic which interests them. We're talking about knowledge which you have about sharing with them. To give you a very vague example, a different example, we are vegetarians at home, right? But my mother is a wonderful non-vegetarian cook.
Okay.
Right? Now, there's no conflict of interest. There's no conflict of anything over there. It's just something that she likes to do for us.
Okay.
I was being truly appreciative of the consumer's coffee, though I do not like coffee.
Mm. Got it. Got it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ronit?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mohammed.
Apologies, I got locked out. I'm really sorry. Internet issue. Sir, do you want any help? Should I unmute someone or like that?
No, I mean, you asked the panel, and I'm sure if anybody has anything, we'll continue.
Yes, Akash is there. Akash, if you can ask your question. Akash, if you can unmute yourself. Okay, Akash is not there. Anuj, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Subramaniam. How are you?
Good, Anuj, doing well. Thank you. How are you?
Sir, I am not good in English, so can I ask in Hindi?
Please go ahead. जरूर पूछिएगा.
या सुब्रमण्यम, मैं प्लास्टिक मोल्डिंग इंडस्ट्री से हूँ. जैसे मैंने आपकी लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल देखी, आप सिंटेक्स में भी आपने टाइम जो है बिताया है, आपका सिंटेक्स के साथ भी एक्सपीरियंस है और सुप्रीम प्लास्टिक के साथ भी.
हाँ जी.
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है, जो ये प्लास्टिक इंडस्ट्री है, यहाँ पे दो चीजें बहुत चलती हैं. एक तो मतलब क्रेडिट बहुत ज्यादा चलता है,
क्या
तो
ज्यादा चलता है?
और दूसरा जो है ना, क्रेडिट, उधार.
क्रेडिट. ओके.
और दूसरा जो है, हम लोग जो फेस करते हैं, मतलब कि वो भी अच्छी ले रहा है, तो वो एक उसको यही होता है, मुझे तो यही चाहिए. तो ये मेजर दो क्वेश्चन है मेरे, जो हम लोग फेस करते हैं मार्केट में. क्योंकि हम जो प्लास्टिक मोल्डिंग प्रोसेस करते हैं वो यूएस लेवल की करते हैं, और आज के दिन इतनी एक्सपर्टीज है हमारे पास, हम एक फोटो देख के सेम पीस बना देते हैं, सेम डिजाइन बना देते हैं, सेम क्वालिटी बना देते हैं.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if I just like to rephrase the, I mean, understand the question. एक credit लंबा देना पड़ता है. Am I right in understanding that?
Anuj, you need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes, sir. या क्रेडिट लंबा देना पड़ता है.
And the second thing is, हम जो प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं वो प्रोडक्ट कस्टमर को नहीं चाहिए.
हाँ, मतलब वो क्वालिटी बना कर, जो मतलब इंडिया में जो हमारे हम प्लास्टिक जार सप्लीमेंट्स बनाते हैं जिसके अंदर फूड सप्लीमेंट्स वगैरह पैक होते हैं, तो अभी जो इंडिया में दे रहा है हम उससे भी अच्छी क्वालिटी मार्केट को डिलीवर कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मार्केट में बोलती है हमें आप उससे सस्ता दे दो और हमें उससे अच्छी क्वालिटी चाहिए ही नहीं, हमारा उसमें काम चलता है.
Very true. Anuj, as far as credit is concerned, every industry has its own, I would say, return on investment calculations. It goes hand in hand with your profitability, your vendors giving you credit, and you giving credit to your suppliers, and the cycle which follows subsequently. Right. Now, when you come to the second question, the product ladder is observed in every industry. To give you an analogy about my industry, the plywood industry that I belong to, 3 to 5% of the plywood is sold in the 130 rupee range. 20% of the plywood is sold between the 110 to 130 rupee range. The other 70% is sold in the 70 to 100 rupee range. Most of the consumers look value for money. Most of the consumers look for a product that will just satisfy their requirement. Recently, I was told a reputed switch company was tested for the number of clicks it gave when they're supposed to have around 1 lakh clicks as per their norms. This didn't, but still, they were still a reputed brand. So just talking to them, understanding, sir, इतनी बार एक कस्टमर की जिंदगी में कहाँ क्लिक होता है, तो हमने बना दिया. So we probably need to identify customers who will value your proposition and sell the product to them. And that is probably the only way of looking at this. The customers may be little, the customers may be small in number, but they are the people who will value what you have to offer and buy from you. It is in our industry also.
Great, Anuj. Anuj, any further question? Any follow-up question out here?
No, sir, no.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Akash has a question. He's on the go, so he requested you to take the question from the chat. So I'll just help you with the question. So he's an audiologist and he sells hearing aid, which is a bit costly, right from 25,000 to 4 lakh. Better the investment in the device, better the clarity. So he's talking about the challenges as in handling sales in this price sensitive market. Uh, Akash, is that a right, was that right framing of your question? If you can type it in the chat. You can also unmute yourself if you want to. I think sir, it's more about the pricing that he mentioned, and he's an audiologist. Challenges in sale as a medical professional. So I think you got muted. I have asked you to unmute out here. If you can just click on that. People just give a few minutes. I think there's some technical challenge where he got muted. Subramaniam sir, if you can unmute yourself. Just give it a few minutes, please. But Akash, was I able to frame your question? I think a pricing as well as challenge in sales, right? As a medical professional. Okay, great. Thanks, Akash. I got your. Pose that we'll take a question from Valen. Valen had a question.
Okay.
Hey, no worries, sir. You can also start your video as well. So, sir, Akash has a question.
Ronit,
Yeah. Yes, sir. Can you hear
and
us?
Akash and Sahil basically were questions on marketing. Then
Sir, unable to hear you properly. So I think there's some internet issue out there at your end. Maybe you can shift from the Wi-Fi to your mobile internet as well, the hotspot. Okay, I think sir is trying to join once again. Just give it a few minutes, please. Anyone else who has any question that they would like to ask, they can right away raise their hand and post that we will conclude the session. Also great feedback from Ms. Kumari. I think it means a lot to us that you enjoyed the session. Yes, sir, you're back. You have to just click on the audio one so that you get connected to the audio. Yes, it's getting connected. Yes, sir, you're back. You can unmute yourself, sir.
yeah. Sorry,
No worries, sir. Please go ahead. I think you are getting unmuted.
can you
Muted.
hear me?
Yes, sir, a little better. If there's an internet issue, you can always switch off your video and continue the session. No worries on that. You're still on mute, sir. Sir, if you can, apologies for the internet issue. If you can just put yourself, if you can just unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, a little better. If there's an internet issue, you can always switch off the video as well. No worries on that.
Basic questions asked by Sahil and Akash were both questions on one of our most fun marketing concepts called segmentation. Right? You have a product which is between 5,000 and 50,000. You have a product you more than 4 lakhs with certain features. You have a plastic bag with certain amounts of plastic and which has food carry bag which is biodegradable. Basically, I'm sure with their independent marketing and that particular segment. And Ronita, this answers their question.
So actually, there was some lag in the connectivity. Your voice was breaking. If you can just take a minute and rephrase, maybe summarize the answer once again. Did we lose him once again? I think there is an internet issue. Thank you everyone for your patience. We'll just try it one more time. I'll just WhatsApp sir about this. There's an internet issue out there. We'll just give it a few more minutes before we conclude it. Okay, just got a confirmation. He's trying to rejoin. Just a moment. Apologies, everyone. There's some internet issue. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll just connect with Mr. Subramaniam and check if there's a possibility to rejoin. If there's a serious network issue, then we'll conclude the session. Just a moment. So there's a serious internet issue out there at Mr. Subramaniam's office. He's just joining in. We'll quickly conclude the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. Yeah. In an online environment, these things are not in our control. So are you able to hear us and connect to the audio? Okay. I think there's a serious network issue. So what I'll do is on that note, we'll conclude this session. Okay, I think sir is there before. Okay, got it, sir. I think I can see you. Uh, yes, sir, you can unmute yourself. I understand there is an internet issue. Uh, Thank you so much for trying, sir, once again. If you can try to unmute yourself.
And
I can feebly hear you, sir. Okay. I think there's some serious network issue. Okay, sir is trying once again. Okay. Sir, can you unmute yourself? Are you able to do that? Yes, sir. You can unmute yourself out here. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Can you hear me, Ronit?
Yes, sir. Better. Thank you so much for trying so many times. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me now?
A little, again, a voice is breaking. Maybe so, you can switch off the video and try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a problem, Rob. It was great being here with all of you.
Sure. Thank you, sir. I do understand there's an internet issue, so we'll conclude the session. Thank you so much once again, for giving us your
Sure.
time. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And it's almost 1.5 hours. So thank you so much for your patience. Apologies for the internet issue. But again, we had a great session, great learnings, 5 traits. And it was great learning from Mr. Subramaniam because 30 years, right, is something that makes a lot of learning in a nutshell, right? So that's what we learned today, how we can build a reputation and what are the traits that you should have by being a lifelong student, adapting technology, the 3 Ps framework, and many more, right? With this, as we conclude this session, next week we'll be back again with a new speaker from a different industry, but we'll give you the sales learnings that you need to upskill in your sales journey, right? One request would be that if you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, if you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, would be great because we would like to reach more and more people and your support will really help us. On that note, this is Ronit from Juno School of Business signing off. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend and see you once again next week, next Saturday at 12 p.m. Thank you.